introduce to those of you that have never had the chance to come and visit us. We have been working with Opici for almost 30 years. So we've been a very long-term partner with Opici, and we share a lot of the value of the Opici family. Our cooperation actually started between my father and Mr. Umberto Cesari more than 30 years ago, I guess. So I'm pretty sure about it. So again, let's go back to see where we are at today, who we are, and what have been our latest addition to our winery and to our portfolio of wines. So our history started 55 years ago, or as my father used to say, 55 harvests ago, because the harvest, and right now we are in the middle of the harvest. We are picking up. It's the most important part of our job. It's we control more than 180. We own more than 180 hectares of vineyard, and we rent another 170, all based in Emilia Romagna. Emilia Romagna, it's known to be the gastronomical capital, the capital for food in Italy. As you can see in this picture, some of the most famous and well-known excellencies of the food that you can find in the US and worldwide are coming from our region. So Emilia Romagna has a strong culture for food and a long tradition, and of course it has affected a lot the way we make our wines. We try to make wines that are food friendly, that get along well with food. Given that our vineyards are based in what is so-called the Food Valley. Talking about wine, Emilia Romagna is a region of quantity. Emilia Romagna, it's the second or the third largest producer of bulk wine in Italy. You might have heard of Lambrusco, of Sangiovese, Trebbiano, some of the most famous grapes cultivated in Emilia Romagna. This is because we have a very favorable climate, microclimate, and normally, yeah, we have the 4 seasons. So we have a very cold winter, mild springs and fall, and very hot summers. This climate, combined with the quality of the soil of our land, is perfect for making. Our idea, though, even if Emilia Romagna is still known to be a region of quantity, we've always had an idea of trying to get to make a selective winemaking, selective growing of the grapes, and this is also coming from our location. All our vineyards are lying up on the hills between Tuscany and on the edge between Tuscany and Emilia Romagna. So actually, some of our vineyards are in Emilia Romagna, but we are in Tuscany. Sorry, but we have the appellation Romagna on our back labels because 99% of our vineyards are in Emilia Romagna. And obviously, the only grapes that we cultivate in our vineyard, in our winery, are the typical grapes of the region. So Sangiovese, Albana, Pignoletto, and all made with the appellation, most of them made with the appellation Rubicone IGT, which it gives the idea of the very micro area within the region Emilia Romagna. So basically, we are from Italy, our region is called Emilia Romagna, and the appellation inside within our region, it's Rubicone. This picture, in this picture, you see my father, who founded the winery, as I said, 55 harvests ago. My father passed away 2.5 years ago, and he was known to be the Sangiovese ambassador, because he, since day one, he believed that Emilia Romagna could give his best result while while trying not to make huge volumes, but a few bottles with low quantity per hectares and a very selective winemaking. And so today, again, I'm not so comfortable talking about the winery in front of a computer, because the best way to understand who we are is come and see. But hopefully, as Michael said, in the next months there will be again the chance to have you at the winery and to show you where our operations, to show you how we make our wines. Basically, here you can see a picture of the very last step before the bottling. This is one of our aging cellars. We highly use technology for our winemaking, and so the cellar, it's all temperature and humidity controlled all year round, which is very important for the aging of our wines. These are some of our estates. If you can go back, Carlo, for just a second.
Yeah, the problem it's not working very well.
Yeah. Okay. This is an overview of some of our vineyards. Here you can see the different vineyards with a different name. As you can see, some of our most famous wines and some of the wines that you also carry in the US are named after the vineyard. So Liano is actually the name of a small town surrounded by one of our vineyards, and Liano gives the name to one of the most important blend. It's a blend of Sangiovese and Cabernet Sauvignon. Then you see some other, the other name of the other estates. This is a very important picture because it shows the border of Emilia Romagna. Basically, Italy is divided east and west, east to west by the Apennines. So we are on the eastern side, and on the western side you have Tuscany. So we are very next to Tuscany, and that's also again one of the reasons why Sangiovese grows so well in our region. Our soil is very similar to Tuscany. Obviously, we have a different microclimate. So I normally, that depends on the vintages, but normally the difference between our Sangiovese and a Sangiovese made in Tuscany is that our tannins are normally softer. Emilia Romagna gives wines that are more ready to drink, that can be drunk earlier compared to some other southern regions, like regions more in the south, like Tuscany or Marche, where the tannins are usually stronger and greener, and those wines need a little more time to show perfectly. Emilia Romagna wines are usually more ready to drink, but and that's another thing that I would love to do when there will be the chance to be at the winery, to taste, to make a vertical of different vintages of the same wine, whether it's Liano or Tauleto, to show you how our wines can age for a long time. Then our values, well, there's basically one value, which is trying to get to respect, first of all, our land, and because my father's mission since the beginning was, he always told me, he said, look, I got here and I want to leave just leaving a better land than what I found. So this is as simple as that. So he has tried to obviously to make to grow Sangiovese, but always respecting the land, because the land was giving out so much and needed to be absolutely respected. Same thing for the people working at the winery. And obviously another value, it's the technology. I was mentioning earlier how technology has made an impact on our way of making wines. Today, now you can see even in this picture on the top, we select for some wines, we select every single raisin. That's a machine called selective optic. I don't know the word in English, but yeah, basically we can set up the size and the weight of every single raisin, and this machine immediately selects the first quality to the second quality, and only the first quality is used to make our cru. Just to give you an idea on how technology can really impact and can really how we can beneficiate from technology. Down you see our laboratory, because that's again another very important part. Every single bottling, every single lot is checked and controlled in that laboratory, so that we try to ship over you know, what we believe is the best quality of the wines that we can make. Sustainability, another extremely important part. We started our sustainability process in the 80s, and we are now getting finally 2021 will be our first year where we can make an organic Sangiovese. So by next year, by February, March next year, we will present our first 100% Sangiovese organic. This you know, it takes especially with the weather changing, and it's a big challenge, but we are very much focused on that. We are very much we want to do it, and then we will be more and more making organic wines in the future. Then some of the awards. Actually, the best award is the one coming from the consumers, not from the critics. But sometimes it's also important to show that some journalists or wine raters, we got some good wine ratings from Robert Parker to James Suckling, Jancis Robinson, and some others. I will leave now. First of all, is there any question, anything that that you want to ask me? Because after I will leave the tasting to Carlo to taste the wines with you. But I don't know if there's any question that I can answer. So if everything is all right. So Carlo, you can go ahead.
I'll have the nice part.
Thanks again for your time, and I really hope that there will be a chance to present our wines to all the restaurants that are hopefully opening again and working 100% like they were working before the COVID. So I wish you all a great last quarter, and I really hope to see you at the winery whenever there will be the chance. Thanks again for your time.
Okay, so I'll have the nice part of this presentation, the tasting, and I hope this is something you are going to enjoy. So first of all, the first wine that we are about to taste is the MoMA. First thing I would like to talk about is the bottle and the label itself. This wine, actually it's a line, is including a red a white and a spumante. In your current portfolio, you only have the white, the red, and this is actually a line dedicated to art. So, as you can see, the name is MoMA. In a way, it should remind you about the Museum of Modern Art in New York. At least this is something usually happens. But in our case, it's a different meaning. For us, it means my own masterpiece. So what we do with this wine, every 4 years, we make a contest where we invite all the artists from different parts of the world to send over their proposal of what could become our new label. So last time we did it was 2 years ago. We received around 640 different proposals from the artists. We selected 20 that we liked the most, and then we put them online. So it was actually the final consumers that by voting, they decided which one they preferred. And actually it was this label here, which is called Golden Glass. I don't think there is anything to translate on that. It's pretty clear. But the shape itself, this is a kind of the shape of the wine, which is actually entering into the glass. And it's a kind of a drawing like the mandala, which also the people, they do normally to relax a little bit. So it's also connecting the wine to this moment of relax, let's say. So the wine itself is Sangiovese, 70%, and then you have 30% Cabernet. So it's aged for 6 months in the big barrel, 30 hectoliters from Slavonian oak, and then 3 months in the bottle. I don't know if you all have this wine or not, but if not, I will taste it myself, and then maybe we can share some feeling about the wine. Well, what vintage do you have right now? Are you on 18, right?
Mike? 2019.
19?
19.
Okay, excellent. This is the same one I'm tasting. I just wanted to be sure. Well, the nose, I would say, I mean, first of all, this is it's in our, let's say, mid range, I would say. So if you consider even just the bottle, usually when you bring this bottle to a table, the people, they perceive it as a premium wine. And I think that when you drink it also, somehow this feeling is confirmed, because it's actually quite a well-structured wine. And I would say it's an excellent value for money, specifically for the offer we made to you recently. So I think it's a really an unbelievable value for money. The color, of course, the wine is very clear. It's pretty deep, and the nose is already quite complex to me. You have, of course, you have black fruit. You have also some red fruit, some cherry, but you have plum, and then you have also the tertiary aromas which are coming from the aging, but also from the Sangiovese. So in this case, you feel there are some tannins, but like Gianmaria was saying, and you will feel it also afterwards with the other wines, the tannins are pretty soft. I would say they are very well integrated in the wine. And I would say this is a very enjoyable wine, which of course it would be very good also with food, but on the other side, I would drink it very well even on its own. It's pretty pleasant in my opinion. So I would really have this velvet sensation in the mouth. In terms of pairing, of course, that would go very well. Let's say, in generally speaking, with all our wines, I mean, it would be very nice to pair it with some of our traditional food, traditional dish that we have here, of course, in Emilia Romagna. With this wine, maybe you can even just enjoy some salamis, some cold cuts, or some cheese, not necessarily too mature, or even just a nice tagliatelle alla bolognese, for example. Is anybody? Do you want to share some feeling? How do you like this wine? Mike, help me.
Sorry, Michael. Hi, sorry to interrupt you, but Michael can't unmute himself because he gave you control. So if you can give him back control,
okay, good.
he'll be able to orchestrate this one.
Okay, I'll try.
Thank you.
Thank you, actually.
Oh,
Mike.
thank you. I've been dying. Back. Sorry.
We finally figured out a way to put a muzzle on Bruns.
Yes, you finally got me to shut up. All right. Sorry about that. So I was texting.
No, I didn't get it. So sorry.
Yeah. No. It's not your fault. It's just my computer and Teams aren't cooperating today at all. So there's actually some questions in.
Yeah, I was going through them right now, actually. So I just realized that there were already some questions. I don't know if Jean-Marie is still with us or not. Probably not. It's gone.
Let me see if he's here.
He signed off.
He did sign off.
Okay,
so it's all on you.
It's the winery working organically, sustainable. I believe we went, probably that was before one of the slides. We've been already talking about what we mean by sustainability. So we have been working in that direction since the 80s. So again, I would say Mr. Umberto Cesari was already a pioneer also with that. So probably Gianmaria didn't really mention, but we dedicated 30 hectares, that would be around 150 acres for an organic production. But we started that 3-4 years ago already. But since, again, we are a serious company, we had to wait a few years before we could claim to be organic. Okay, and this is why only this year we will come out with a new Sangiovese organic wine. So that would be the first wine, but as Gianmaria mentioned during his speech, probably in the future a few more wines will add to that selection, because not because this is the trend, but also because we really believe in it. So this is probably, with that I cover the first question, I would say.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, the Liano, everything is state grown, and from the picture that you've seen while Gianmaria was talking, and when you come you will be able to see it again. Over there is a small village, there is a small church, which also the Cesari family invested to refurbish, and this church which was basically partly destroyed or damaged. And so yeah, this is also to prove how connected we are with our neighborhood, let's say. So of course the vines are there. There are a lot of tourists. Probably you know that we are very strong in specifically in Canada, for example, but in many European markets as well. And the people, the tourists, they come here because they want to see where actually these unbelievable grapes that then becomes Liano are coming from. And I'll tell you something more later when we go to the Liano, but in some countries, Liano has become a brand itself. It's even more powerful than Umberto Cesari in some cases, really.
So I'm going to bounce around a little bit with some of these questions because some of them were coming in when I was muted and couldn't jump in. But Craig brings up a good point, because on the sell sheet that we're looking at right now for the MoMA, it mentions Merlot, and I know occasionally you do use a little Merlot in the MoMA, but not always.
No, that's right. Yeah, normally it could be, let's say, it's normally 70% Sangiovese, and it could be 30% Cabernet. Otherwise, it would be still more normally 70% Sangiovese, maybe 20 Cabernet and 10 Merlot. That's it, no more than 10.
Right. Yeah, just it's worth clarifying, because I don't think the current vintage 19, I think it's 70 and 30, right? There is no Merlot in the 19 vintage.
No.
Correct. So George wanted to know for that organic wine, I guess we can talk about that. It will be listed on the label certified organic?
Of course, when we'll come out with this Sangiovese, for sure.
Okay. And then Mark has a question about the Sangiovese Reserva. So I guess before we go into that, you might as well go to the next slide and talk about the Sangiovese Reserva, and then we can get into the question there.
Yeah.
So if you have the bottle in front of you, please pour it in your glass. We'll try the second wine.
So for those of you who don't have the bottle, this is how it looks like. Probably anyway you are familiar with it. I would say this is a kind of an historical label of our portfolio. So, and this is really a typical, well, I would say a typical example of the Sangiovese di Romagna. Of course, in this case, we are talking about a Reserva. So the aging is pretty long. It goes for 18 months in Slavonian and then also Allier big barrel, 30 hectoliters again. And then, of course, in the bottle for quite a while. This is 100% Sangiovese. This is a DOC wine. And it's a master pillar, let's say, in our portfolio. And this is a wine that has been performing pretty well, I would say, even recently, Michael, if I'm not wrong, with you. So the depletions are going pretty well. And this is, again, a label that you've been carrying in your portfolio since many, many years. So it's a kind of, I mean, you never get wrong with this wine, I would say.
Yeah, I think this wine was part of the handshake deal between Hubert and Umberto 35 years ago when he said, yeah, send me a barrel. Back when it was that simple. So to one of the questions that came up is from Mark Stotland, and he had said, can you describe the vineyard sourcing for the Sangiovese Reserva? How many vineyards do you use, the locations, and if there are any special attributes associated with those vineyards?
So basically, they are in a very nice spot of our vineyards. I mean, they face basically east south. They are in the higher part of the vineyard, so where the soil is also is of course clay, but it's also calcareous in that part of the vineyards. And this is also where the microclimate is particularly favorable. You got these excursions that Gian Maria was just mentioning, because in our area, in the internal part of Emilia Romagna, there is this excursion between night and day, but also between winter and summer. And this is very good because of, I mean, this is helping to create a very intriguing nose profile and gives complexity to the wine, I would say. So, in fact, if you just smell it, you can feel already. Let's say it's a further step comparing to MoMA. I would say it's more intense, and yeah, you already have also. Still, you have the fruit, the black fruit, but you have also some leather, some balsamic notes as well.
Yeah, I think one thing you could say about it is that you definitely get some of the characteristics that you would see from Sangiovese from Tuscany. But again, I think it's got more of like that, even like what you say here on the tasting notes, it's got more of that velvety sort of mouthfeel, which you sometimes don't get from Sangiovese in Tuscany. It's almost a bigger, bolder wine, if you want to, like, as opposed to like a Chianti Classico or a Reserva. Yeah,
I would say probably it's a little bit more pleasant, let's say, in the mouth. Sangiovese as a variety, it's quite a rustic variety, so it can never be totally smooth or flat, and you don't want that for sure, because you want to keep the character of Sangiovese. But when you can have, I mean, this smooth tannins specifically, I would say it helps the drinkability of the wine. And at the end of the day, this is what the people, even more often, they would like to have some, I'm not saying easier wine, because this is not really an easy wine and still needs some food, but a more approachable. I mean, because sometimes really, if you take a pure Sangiovese from Tuscany, it could be quite hard to drink it, and then you need to wait probably a few more years to enjoy it. And having said that, I mean, I love Tuscany wines. I'm not saying that they're not good, but just, I mean, the approach is a little bit different, I would say. These wines are a little bit more approachable, still having a character, a personality, and I would say you can recognize Sangiovese for sure, and then you can appreciate the difference between Sangiovese from Tuscany and Emilia Romagna with this wine.
So is this Sangiovese Reserva? It's not all estate fruit, or is it? Do you have to source any?
Whatever we do. No, we actually all the grapes are grown within our own winery, so we don't buy grapes basically. So overall, probably that was at the beginning. Gian Maria didn't mention that, but we started, if I'm not wrong, with acres. We are talking about when Umberto Cesari started, he bought 50 acres, and now we run 877, if I'm not wrong, acres. Okay, wow. So we are not a small company. We are the biggest private company in Emilia Romagna, beside the cooperatives that, of course, they are doing a different job. So we are focused on quality since the beginning, and we are combining quality with, let's say, volumes, because we are not small. Overall, we produce around 4 million bottles, just for you to have an idea. So I would say it's a nice size. We are not huge, but we are a nice size company.
Well, that was good, because one of the questions was wanting to know total production of the winery. So you answered the question. Joanne actually asked the question, and she wanted to know roughly each item how much. So I would imagine the MoMA and the Sangiovese Reserva are probably your two bigger productions.
You see, you would be surprised, because actually among them, let's say, I would say, between Reserva and Liano, they are competing for being the best seller.
Okay.
So of course the price point is a little different, but again, the people, they really love our Liano and they went crazy for it. And overall, we are producing around 800 million bottles of Liano.
Wow.
Oh, million, sorry, 800,000 bottles, sorry.
Not 800 million yet. Not yet.
Not yet. So yeah, and this is also for you to understand the importance of Liano for us in general, but also for the general public, because really it means that there is a huge potential for this wine, even in US for sure. So at the moment, for your depletions, for sure, Reserva is performing better. But having said that, I believe there is a huge potential still for Liano. So Liano, again, comparing to MoMA, you've seen that Reserva and Liano, they have a more traditional label, let's say. Now we're going to change that a little bit. We are going to add a new logo. You've seen probably at during the presentation, the logo it's pretty, let's say, more essential, I would say, but very elegant at the same time. So we are trying to get rid of all this gold, which is a little bit redundant. So we don't feel it necessary, let's say, looking at the future. And also another thing, I just would like to take the opportunity to talk about the bottle also, because going back to our sustainability policy, we decided to reduce the weight of the bottle. So for Reserva specifically, we are going from 600 grams to 410 grams, which makes a huge difference in terms of CO2 emissions. So this is another interesting step going through, let's say, the sustainability path, I would say. So talking about the wine itself, this is a kind of a dream that Mr. Cesari had in mind, because again, since the beginning, he wanted to prove to himself and to the world that actually Emilia Romagna was capable of producing excellent wines. So as we said, he was focusing on typical autochthonal variety. Of course, the queen for us is still Sangiovese, which is covering more or less 70% of our entire production, I would say. And then little by little, he added also some international varieties. Like in this case, it's a blend, 70 Sangiovese and 30% Cabernet Sauvignon. So if you wish, it's a good alternative to the Super Tuscan wines. Let's say you can call it a Super Emilia Romagnan wine. But again, Mr. Cesari was a pioneer in that too, because he started many years ago, and the success, I already told, was unbelievable in a way. Talking about a wine from Emilia Romagna. So this is, in this case, is an IGT. We are getting into the IGT recognition. The vinification, sorry, the aging I didn't mention, but it's 18 months in the Tonneau from Allier. and then of course a little period in the bottle before we release the vintage. So talking about the wine itself, the color is again a little bit deeper comparing to the others that we've tasted already. The nose, it's in my opinion still more complex. You feel the wood in the nose. The wood is more present, but it's still very well integrated in the wine. It's not really covering the wine. And then it's really complex in this case because you have everything. You got the fruit, you got the leather, you got some spices too in this case, which are coming also from both from the grape, from Cabernet in this case, but also from the aging.
So we should all be tasting, I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. I was just going to say we're tasting the 2018 vintage, which we still have in stock, and more is on the way from Italy as well. So what you are trying now is available and will be for at least, you're not moving into 19 probably until some point next year, right?
Yeah, in the future, yes.
Yeah, okay.
But the ones that yeah. So, and again, I would say this is a wine for everybody. I would say it's a kind of a hug from Umberto Cesari, from Umberto Cesari himself in a way, because this is a wine that he really wanted in his mind, and he managed to reach the quality level he wanted. And it's complex, but it's also very pleasant. So if let's say we are all, let's say, kind of expert, but if you talk to a normal consumer, which is not, let's say, whose palate is not so advanced or educated, I would say still they will be able to enjoy this wine. But if you are more expert, then you can really understand so many. You can feel really so many different aromas and flavors, and you can appreciate the technique that has been used to reach this kind of level. Again, with a 70% base of Sangiovese, which again is not an easy grape. So then you have also this sugar residual, which is pretty interesting and making the wine even more enjoyable, I would say. So after all, if you leave the bottle on the table, I don't think it will survive a very long period. So normally the people really they drink it very, very with a lot of enthusiasm, I would say.
Yeah, I mean it's a great food wine, but again, it's one of those things, like, linked to your point, is that you could drink this on its own as well, even with like a slight chill on it. I think it'd be pretty good. Yeah, so just one thing I wanted to go back to real quick, because I know Carlo mentioned in the beginning, talking about the bottle not only becoming lighter, but then also there being sort of a facelift on the label. George had mentioned that the Umberto Cesari logo is a little, so we're actually, that will be changing. Not with the next supply that hits our Italian warehouse, but the one after that. So I will be sending out some of the details along with the images to our team, who in turn can share it with some of our customers who are on the call with us today as well, and distributors, so they can get a look at it too. So it's coming. We actually have the look and feel now. You'll probably see it by the end of this week, how it's going to look, probably arriving here early 2022, just with, supplies and getting stuff here, and ships, and just the joy that is 2021 with trying to get anything on a boat and over to the US at the moment.
Yeah, I was just reading some comments about the wine, so I feel also it's been appreciated by our guest there, and I agree. I mean, you can enjoy it on its own, but with a steak, that would be fantastic for sure.
Definitely.
I don't know, any other question, because I'm not going through all of them. And Mike, did you make any selection, anything specifically we need to discuss?
No, I mean, it's a lot of rave reviews. James had some good points on the Liano with the jammy sour cherry red plums and strawberry with a little bit of leather and some barnyard and some mushroom. So as you said, the regular, the average day consumer would say, oh, this is nice. But then somebody who knows their wine
exactly
gets all these different sort of nuances within the wine when you really, sit there and savor it. So thank you, James, for proving our point further. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any other questions? I know you've been using the chat. If anybody wants to unmute themselves now and just say a few, if they have a thought, a question, whatever, please feel free to do so. Actually, somebody just wrote something.
I'm not sure about I just wanted to reply to George Palmieri regarding the question on the logo. Yeah. I don't know if that question was before or after I mentioned something about it. So I don't have a new logo here in front of me, but if you go just a little bit back on the presentation, on every slide there should be the new logo, Mike. So just to let them know what will happen. Yeah, you see even that one on the on the right. Yeah,
down here.
Yeah. So this is going to be the new logo, which is going to replace this one basically on every bottle with the new vintages as soon as we let's say we can. So it will be more elegant. You will, of course, you won't be able to see this gold any longer, but I would say that it still will stand out very clearly, even more clearly than it does now. So probably this is a good reply to George. A good answer to George.
Definitely. Yeah, you can see it there, there in the middle as well. But yeah, so like I said, Laurie had sent me some of those details. We're I'm putting together an email with some stuff to go out to our team, which in turn will go out to our distributor partners. And we'll spread the word. But again, expect to see it in early 2022 in the US.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions?
No.
I think that might be it. All right. Well, I want to thank you
for
all.
Dinner.
Yeah. Well, you're ready for dinner. We got to go back to work. I want to thank everybody for attending today. Carlo, thank you.
Thank you
Tell
indeed.
John Mario I said thank you. I apologize that I was silent for the first 20 minutes of this presentation, but that probably worked out for the best in hindsight. Again, thanks everyone for coming. I hope you enjoyed the wines. Please feel free to reach out with any questions you might have. If we didn't answer them today, if it comes up after the fact tonight when you're sitting around finishing this bottle of wine, you have a question, reach out to your O-Pee-Chee rep or myself, and I'll make sure I get the information to Carlo or John Maria, and they can answer the question for you.
Sure, that would be a pleasure.
We hope to have you here soon. I know your first visit to the U.S. was March of 2020, which couldn't have possibly been at a worse time
exactly.
in the history.
At some point, I was worried I should have been staying in U.S. because
a
couple of days after they close everything here in Italy. So as soon as I go back.
Yeah. So we hope to be out there soon. If anybody on this call is planning a trip to Italy and would like to,
of course, you're very welcome.
They will welcome you with open arms and throw a few bottles of wine at you and maybe even a steak to go with that Liano.
For sure.
And yeah, like I said, if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you again for your time. Carlo, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you in person as soon as it will be possible.
Absolutely.
Enjoy the rest of the day.
Grazie mille.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.